Do we live in a virtual reality? It'd be quite the crazy revelation, wouldn't it? That life is essentially a video game and we are all players in it. Well, it's as good an explanation as I've ever fucking heard. That's for damn sure. Just as plausible as multiverses.
Some infinities are bigger than others.
And loopholes and black holes.
Cut a portal from your location in space and emerge in another location in space.
And wormholes.
One infinity outstrips the other infinity.
And all this shit that the mainstream scientific model, scientific cosmology, puts forward. But man, wouldn't it be crazy if we lived in a virtual reality, if we lived in a simulation? You know, I've been getting back into Tom Campbell. He's done work for NASA before. He is a dude who believes the theory that the universe is a virtual reality.
This being a virtual reality, who are we? We're the player, not our physical body. We, our consciousness, us as an individuated unit of consciousness, is the player.
Tom Campbell goes over the entire virtual reality theory in his book, My Big Toe, which stands for Theory of Everything. I'll put a link to his book in the description below. It also comes in audiobook format. And if you sign up for Audible, they give you your first audiobook for free. So again, the link to his book is in the description below. And I was thinking the other day, man, how applicable is this analogy to the movie The Matrix? And I was thinking about the people who resist the theory that the universe is a simulation. And I started thinking about the atheist, physicalist, materialist type people who they kind of act like the Agent Smiths in The Matrix. You know, you can think of people, I mean, think about it. I mean, Tom Campbell, you know, anybody who believes the universe is a virtual reality and is trying to share and convince people and persuade people that it's a virtual reality, they are basically the Morpheuses.
The Matrix is everywhere. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave, Neo.
They are basically the Neos dishing out red pills, waking people up to the fact that they live in essentially a video game, a computer-generated simulation.
Like the strongest argument for us being in a simulation, probably being in a simulation, I think is the following. That 40 years ago, we had Pong, like two rectangles and a dot. That was what games were. Now, 40 years later, we have photorealistic 3D simulations with millions of people playing simultaneously.
So, if the people who are trying to convince others that we live in a virtual reality simulation, if those people are the Neos and the Morpheuses and the Trinities dishing out the red pills, then who are the Agent Smiths in our reality? Who would the Agent Smiths be? Well, I think the atheist, physicalist, materialists who love clinging to their physical reality, and many of which deeply reject the simulation theory hypothesis, they would be the Agent Smiths, because, you know, it's one thing to disagree with a theory, it's one thing to have a rebuttal, it's one thing to view it in a different way, which is totally okay and it's healthy, it's good for the discussion. But it's something else entirely when you're just a bitter little bitch who's trying to shame people for having an opinion that goes against the current mainstream scientific consensus.
Ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system that they will fight to protect it. Were you listening to me, Neo? Or were you looking at the woman in the red dress? I was. Look again. Who is it? This isn't the Matrix.
No. It's another training program designed to teach you one thing. If you are not one of us, you are one of them.
What are they?
Sentient programs.
They can move in and out of any software still hardwired to their system. That means that anyone we haven't unplugged is potentially an agent. Inside the Matrix, they are everyone, and they are no one. We have survived by hiding from them, by running from them. But they are the gatekeepers. They are guarding all the doors, they are holding all the keys, which means that sooner or later, someone is going to have to fight them.
And that's what a lot of these physicalist materialists do, is that they're like thugs. They're like fucking Agent Smith thugs infiltrating the system, trying to distract you from the potential immateriality of this physical world. They're trying to blue pill you. They're trying to convince you don't take the red pill. Don't listen to the virtual reality simulation hypothesis. Stay plugged in to the physical world and believe your physicalism. Believe that the physical reality is all there is. Cling to this rigid world of rules and limitations. The physicalists, the atheist materialists, and not all atheists, it's really not even atheists, it's really more the physicalists, materialists. They are the Agent Smiths, because sometimes I don't think these people actually disagree or have a good counter argument for the simulation theory hypothesis. I think a lot of times some are just bitter, butthurt little losers who have their own religious belief. Physical reality is their religious belief. Physical reality, matter, provides them, believing in matter, provides them with a sense of grounding, a sense of stability. And if you were to tell them that the physical reality doesn't exist, or that it's immaterial and that it's fleeting, then you're pulling the rug out from underneath them.
The Matrix is a computer-generated dream world, built to keep us under control in order to change a human being into this.
No. I don't believe it. It's not possible.
I didn't say it would be easy, Neo. I just said it would be the truth.
Stop. Let me out. Let me out. I want out.
So I do think that a lot of them, they're just scared. Because if there's one thing that theists and physicalists have in common, theists being people who believe in a God, if there's one thing that theists and atheist physicalists have in common, is that they both believe in an objective arbiter of truth. For theists, the objective arbiter of truth is a God. For the atheist physicalists, materialists, the objective arbiter of truth is nature, the laws of physics, physical reality, the objective external world that exists independent of subjective observation. And to me, that's really the fundamental thing. Like, who cares what religion you are, theist, atheist? There's a more fundamental and relevant and important discussion to have, and that is our reality objective or subjective? Because you want to know what would qualify into the objective category? Theists and atheist physicalists. They're both in the same camp. Reality is objective. Now, to be fair, I think that there are some who might disagree. There is Inspiring Philosophy YouTube channel, and he is a Christian who believes in the simulation hypothesis. I don't know if he thinks reality is objective or subjective, but I think the point remains. I think that when you believe that there's an objective arbiter of reality, independent and objective, of your subjective or the subjective experience of anybody, you're just pushing an objective external reality theory. And I think that's why we haven't found an answer yet. Because we're reaching out too far. We're trying to go into the maybe we'll find a fucking alien civilization in another galaxy that has all the big answers to the big questions. I think we have to go in. Consciousness, the final frontier. We have to go in. So no, I don't believe that the atheist physicalists, I don't believe that
they try to shame you and tell you you're wrong because they actually disagree rationally, scientifically. I think it's just they got some internal weaknesses. They have some type of clinging. It's their own religious belief to believe in physicalism. Some of them are just part of this stupid little theist versus atheist, science versus religion debate, so they're not going to humble themselves and admit maybe they were wrong in some key ways. So yeah, I really do think in a way you can kind of compare them to the Agent Smiths. They're kind of vile, they're kind of vicious in the way they attack you and try to shame you. They intimidate you, they bully you, they thug you. Just like Agent Smith does in The Matrix. They don't want you taking that red pill. They don't want you meeting Morpheus. That's a bad influence. How dare you question this apparently physical, solid reality? They're the Agent Smiths, man. Their whole shtick is to shame you. And there's a intimidation behind it. It's kind of like how Hillary supporters are some of the most vicious and violent. Like, I thought you guys were like loving liberals. It's kind of like that. They're the most vicious. They're like thugs. That's because they're basically mercenaries for the corporate lobbyists. The Liberal Party is. And really, the GOP anti-Trump establishment, never Trump establishment, they're on the same team as the Democrats. The thing is that evil disguises itself as good. That's why the Republican Party fell during the 2016 Trump election. The Republican Party fell right before the Democrat Party fell, because the evil establishment, evil will cloak itself in a veneer of kindness. And that's what the Liberal Party is. Why do you think all these liberal politicians and Hollywood celebrities are coming out and they've all been sexually harassing women their whole lives? Because evil wraps itself in a veneer of kindness and tolerance. And that's what liberalism, the Democrat Party, always represented. It was the most, I care about you and I care about you. That turned out to be the last bastion of the establishment. And it came crumbling down during the 2016 election, thanks to the MAGA Trump movement. So is our reality a simulation? It could be, my friends. Go research it. This ain't woo-woo junk science. This is real theories. And if it is a virtual reality, they don't want you to question it. Thank you guys for watching Tom Campbell's My Big Toe book, My Big Theory of Everything. It's a very interesting book, but it is very difficult to read, very complex, very in-depth, maybe 900 to 1,000 pages long, and it's also available on audiobook. So I'll go ahead and I'll put a link below to Tom Campbell's My Big Toe, My Big Theory of Everything book. It's very interesting, but it was too technical. I couldn't get through it. I mean, I'm sure if I buckled down, I would have gotten through it, but it was so technical. It's just like But you might find it interesting. It might give you insights. It's all about the simulation hypothesis. It's all about the virtual reality theory. And it's really, I guess you could say it's kind of like the magnus opus of his work. So definitely check that out, guys. I'll put a link to it in the description below.
I know you're out there. I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin. I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. I'm going to show them a world without you. A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries. A world where anything is possible.
fight back against YouTube censorship by supporting me on Patreon. You'll also get access to exclusive, never-before-seen videos and other perks like monthly Google Hangouts with me, free books and t-shirts, and more.